Hello and welcome to the Authentic Freedom Virtual Church. My name is Lori Lumby and I'm the pastor and spiritual director of this online community. Let us take a moment to read from our mission statement. We are a community of men and women who consider Jesus to be our teacher, while honoring the spiritual truths inherent within all sacred traditions. We recognize the divine as that which is at once outside of us, within us, and present within all of creation, and which can be acknowledged by any name, image, or presence. We believe in the inherent potential of all human beings to become self-actualized, and we acknowledge the spiritual journey as a formative tool in this endeavor. We believe in the law of love and seek to know more fully the love of the divine that dwells within us and which seeks to be known in the world through us in service to the betterment of the world. Let us take a moment in silence as we allow ourselves to be open in our hearts and our minds for God's nourishment today. Avunde Vashmaya, Avunde Vashmaya, Avunde Vashmaya, Avunde Vashmaya. I share that phrase from the Aramaic Lord's Prayer as our beginning today, as it is the sacred chant that helps us to remember humility and spiritual obedience. Specifically, it helps us to remember our oneness with God, but also to recognize that we are not equal with God. As Paul's letter to the Philippians said in regards to Jesus, though he was in the form of God, did not regard equality with God something to be grasped. Rather, he emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, coming in human likeness, and found human in appearance. He humbled himself, becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Today we're going to talk about humility and spiritual obedience. In our human experience, it is very easy to get caught up in the compulsion of pride. In a place of pride, we believe that we are the masters of our destiny, that we are in charge of our highest good. We believe that we know what is in our highest good, and we understand that by our wants and our desires. Humility tells us something else. Humility allows us to recognize that while we are one with God, that God alone knows our highest good. And that God reveals that highest good, not through our wants and our desires, not even through our needs, but through a quiet and silent place within our heart. Humility allows us to set aside our own desires, our own wants, our own thoughts of how we want our life to unfold, recognizing that we do not know what is best for us. Humility allows us to set aside those desires, those wants, those plans, and invites us to be silent. and in that silence to turn towards God, to allow ourselves to be emptied of our own selfish planning, needs, and desires, so that we can receive the revelation of what God knows is in our highest good. God reveals our highest good, our truth to us, in those quiet and silent places. God reveals our truth in our intuition, through our dreams, through our life experiences, in our personal encounters, in coincidences, or as I call them, Godcidences, in the everyday unfolding of our life. The challenge for us is to get out of our own way so that we can see and understand what God understands as is in our highest good. And then, like Jesus, we are called to be obedient to what God reveals to us. Obedient without question. Obedient without compromise. Obedient without bargaining or arguing our way out of it. Being obedient to what God reveals to us as is in our highest good allows us to enter into a path that unfolds without effort, that doesn't require ceaseless striving, that often doesn't even require us to do anything except simply wait. Wait for God's support to come into our lives. Wait for God's directive, and then we know we can act. Being obedient to God requires faith. We have to take a leap of faith and risk believing that what God is revealing to us is true. Risk believing in the promptings of our intuition, in the messages of our dreams, in the miracles and the extremely exciting things that fall into our lap. God knows the plan that is in our highest good. And when we are quiet and take the time to listen for that plan, and then obey those directives without question and uncompromisingly, then our life unfolds in an effortless and easy kind of way. And when we embark upon the plan that God knows is in our highest good, it is through that plan that we find meaning and fulfillment in our lives. God's plan leads us to greater experiences of peace, of love, of joy, of expansiveness, of freedom. As Paul said in his letter to the Corinthians, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And that is God's promise to us. So in the coming week, let us be attentive to the invitation to being humble, to setting aside our own selfish desires and wants, and being open to God's direction in our lives. And then let us exercise uncompromising obedience, to the point even of defending what we know God has revealed to us as the path of our truth. Like Jesus, who understood the truth that God revealed to him, the truth of our oneness with God. And he defended that truth, even to the point of his death. So it wasn't necessarily Jesus' death that God ordained. Instead, it was the truth of oneness, and Jesus stood by that truth uncompromisingly. Avunde Bashmaya, Avunde Bashmaya, Avunde Bashmaya, Avunde Bashmaya. Thank you. Thank you for giving your time and attention to this spiritual nourishment. And may you have many blessings in the coming week as you allow yourself to be open to humility and obedient to God's directive. And again, if you found this to be meaningful and supportive of your spiritual journey, I invite you to support Authentic Freedom Ministries in whatever way that you feel called. Thank you.